right, well, so, have a bit of an unusual meeting today in that nobody in charge is here. We'll go through the agenda, then we'll adjourn to executive session. You can just stick around until then, Rhea. It's,
All right.
So, I guess we'll just have a motion to approve the agenda. Does everybody have a look at it? I only just did. That's fine with me. Anybody move to approve the agenda?
Second.
Okay, good. And it's approved. And then we may get a vote, so we'll just take it as approved. Okay, no president's marks, so Tony's so sick here.
You need to approve the minutes.
Oh,
You just approved the agenda, you need to approve the minutes.
and,
I don't have copies of the minutes, because I sent them out.
I do that.
all right, I did read it was done.
I have it too. And then
I was not here last time, but.
There's no problem as I recall.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, motion to approve the minutes. for
I'll
consent vote.
make motion to approve the minutes.
Okay,
I'll second that.
good. So approved. Good. Okay, so Tony being sick and Mike being gone, so no president's remarks. Office update, Rhea.
All right, hate to even bring this up, but one more time, the reserve markup did go to Miller Dodson, just want to get that on the record. When I inquired, remember I got that email from them asking if we were, if you, as a board, was authorized to slash it like you did, if our bylaws, which it wouldn't be, it would be our covenants, would allow you to do that. And I responded to say that it's not addressed in the covenants, not addressed in the corporate documents. This is an old community and so on.
There's nothing to say we can't.
Yeah, well, exactly right. I said we have a fiduciary responsibility and blah, blah, blah. So he responded with, because I asked him if there was anything in the legislation that required us, or that prohibited us from doing what we did. And he responded with, Maryland law simply states that we are to have a study done and set aside funds according to the recommendations of the study. So, that being, I just want to get that out there so it's on the record. So we should be getting a final markup draft and have it. Starting to file liens again, claims, and I did collect, I was quite happy about this one, $2,552, which included court costs. I don't want to name names, but this is the one that was so difficult. Jackie and I went to court over it, Mike and I went to court over it, I think we all know who we're talking about. And I also got an updated mailing address, which is an attorney. I think he's probably has like a attorney of record now, perhaps for his estate or what have you. I don't know if he's deceased, I have no idea. But anyway, I've got a good mailing address, so it shouldn't be a problem now. Need to bring this one up too, speed bumps, again. This has been brought up over the years, often. Person came in the other day, she has a house down on Lake Drive, quite far down, almost to Pine.
They're right there.
They're
right there.
Not that
Oh, but if it's
far,
new.
right around Pine.
Oh, on the.
Pine comes out of the lake and it comes back out.
Yeah,
where you go.
okay,
So
so you're, that
this
is
is side of Pine, okay. And, you know, she had a story, somebody out walking their baby, a stroller, and almost got hit, and all of that, the usual, and so on. So she asked again about speed bumps. And I got thinking about it, since we've heard it so many times, could we be held liable if something happened with somebody speeding? And should we check into it further, just on Lake Drive? Because that's the only real long straightaway that we're responsible for. Beretta is not ours. All the other roads are shorter before they turn or curve and so on.
There's also someone the other night, this was last week, around midnight, just came, you could hear him screeching around all the.
Yeah. I've asked the sheriff's department so many
I know,
times to
and they
please
did
step
a
up
speed
patrols
thing
through there.
there,
And
yeah.
So I don't know.
Where does speed bump prevent that?
I don't
The
know.
people are gonna,
I know.
right, I mean, I'm not saying object to them, but
Yeah.
I'm saying
I don't know.
if that's what we're, or maybe if we had them, we would be less liable if we relied.
Perhaps.
I don't know.
Should I ask the attorney?
Can't hurt to
I
ask.
thought there was an issue with, is
It
there no issue with the snow plowing, or not that we would
Oh,
understand?
that's
I
right.
mentioned that in school
Yeah.
buses
I
and
guess
emergency vehicles,
Yeah.
and she just like, oh, that's ridiculous.
Were those the obstacles that were put up before, the snow and?
Reason not to.
Reason not?
Yeah, that's
Right.
the reason
Those
for
were-
it.
Okay, yeah,
So I just didn't know.
well, maybe just an
And
inquiry.
John, you started to say
No, I
how,
wouldn't hurt.
about the attorney.
Yeah, I wouldn't hurt to inquire.
Yeah, just wanted to ask.
All right, I'll do that then.
We can do that.
Um,
But, you know, as far as legal responsibility, the person,
Yeah,
driving that
yeah,
car.
Yeah,
we don't want to alleviate any responsibility from that person.
right.
So I'm not assuming any liability on our part.
No, I would think we
so
wouldn't.
either,
I wouldn't think so either.
but
It's
it's just,
good, it's good to be safe.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
And
I'll
also,
ask.
I often add, it gets really frustrating too, and I don't know what there's anything we can do about it. But around the 4th of July, sometimes when people come from out of town or whatever, there are a lot of parties, people drive like maniacs, because
Yeah.
they're not used to, you know,
Yeah.
people walking with their dogs and their kids.
Right.
But we've had to jump off the
Sure.
road a couple of
Yeah.
times, you know, and,
Well, and I think
especially
the
around
Airbnbs
holidays,
kind of add to
to
this,
that
I
as
don't,
well,
you
yeah.
know, need to,
Do we have
Hard on
many Airbnbs?
somebody
Yeah, we
told
have
me
lots.
we had like 30.
Yeah, we have a lot now.
Oh,
I don't know.
I can tell you, there's 2 on Beach Drive, which is a pretty small
Yeah,
sample
that is,
set, but
yeah.
there's 2.
Right.
but the owners live there full time, or they vacate when they have.
No, well, the one right
Oh, one
next
is
to me
just
is
that.
100%.
Oh,
The owner is
okay.
never spent the night there during the 4 years I've known him.
Oh,
Yeah, if people would just be reasonable, then it wouldn't be a problem, but it's.
Well, gosh, that would solve all the world's
Yes.
problems, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
yeah, I know.
But wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah, it'd be
People just be
nice.
considerate,
Wishful
wishful.
thinking.
Exactly.
So the obstacles were, for the speed bumps previously were snow plows
Yeah.
and
Emergency
school bus.
vehicles, school buses, those were the 3 main, and cost, they're not cheap.
Were they, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, were they expensive?
I looked into it, remember the last
Anytime.
time, I was gonna say it was like 1,600 for a strip. I don't even remember now, but it wasn't cheap.
I think one thing we might look into is all kinds of traffic calming measures.
mhm.
Well, yeah.
Not just speed bumps.
I mean, like those elongated
When
kind.
I drive in other neighborhoods or
Mhm.
other states,
Right,
I notice there's different
yeah,
technologies even. I mean, there's like it's almost like a mat, an old fashioned mat, you
yeah,
know, just only slightly out.
yeah. Marie's in Chris's neighborhood in Clinton, it's an old part of Clinton, and they've got, they're like, I don't know how wide they are, I've never gotten out, but they look to be about that wide, and they're quite gentle.
Yeah, well, and in Bethesda, they have those,
Do they have
they
those
call
too?
them speed humps or speed masons,
Mhm.
Yeah, that would be better.
I don't know if they're gonna-
So maybe,
I don't know if that's gonna stop speeders, but at least that we are aware of it.
In our study of this, maybe if we could just, even just Google what
Yeah.
other options
Yeah.
are out there.
okay, I'll do that.
Well, there are some technologies where you ride by and it tells you how fast you're going.
Oh, that's
and you
true.
Yeah,
can
but,
do it.
yeah, I don't know, we
They
had
probably
that drive.
Go as fast as they can.
My daughter-in-law, I
They
said,
can
Mom,
see
my
how
Or
fast
they-
you
friends,
go.
my
or they
friends
could
try
actually
to
that
see how
same
high
thing.
they can get it.
Well, the other thing, or it could send them
I'm
a
sure she
ticket.
did.
If it's
Yeah,
a
that's
local
what- yeah.
resident, they automatically get a ticket in your
Well, there's that
inbox.
too, yeah,
Yeah.
there's
This
that
is-
too, yeah. So, okay, it kind of leads into this with the Airbnbs. Somebody that lives on Bay Drive, at the corner, well, I hate to name names, it's not a big deal. Anyway, this person told a woman who had parked in front of where the beach steps are on Bay Drive. Okay, she kind of pulled off, wasn't on the street, she was in the unpaved right of way. He stopped and told her that she's not allowed to park there. That easement in particular was put there and with verbiage in the agreement that said for local residents only. I've never heard of that. I can't find it, and believe me, I've gone through, as we all know, a lot of files. I did manage to find the deeds that pass it Kerman's, to some corporation, Drum Point Corporation, I think it was called, to CRE, to the club, to the road company, eventually to the association. There's like 5 or 6 deeds, and every one of them I found one that would say, including the easements. So that's an easement. So I think we're good there. But I can't, even if I find a paper that says local residents only, that's not been enforced for 50 years. It's never been enforced. So I don't know what to tell this guy when he, and he's upset again because it's the Airbnb people mostly that do this, he'll say. And he could be right. But I don't know what we can do about
Well,
it.
when you have an Airbnb,
You've
I
never
assume
enforced it.
the owner, someone got those privileges to park in front of the place that would.
We let them know, but I don't know that they do. I don't know that they do.
Maybe we could, after we research all this, we could provide information sheets to give to B&B owners. And just say, you know, we want to keep the neighborhood nice, and so
Right.
we want you to
Encourage you to let your
do
people know.
X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah, of
park
course.
properly, don't be crazy at night.
Is there a way on
Don't throw
Air?
garbage. And,
Yeah.
And put that in the house itself, you know, like
Right,
rules.
so is
Yeah.
there a way on the Airbnb website to find all of them in Drum Point? Because I have no, I know where a couple are.
Absolutely could.
So-
It takes
Well, there's probably some that are VBRO and different.
Right.
sections, so you're not
I
gonna
guess
find
I
all
could
of
just
them.
send a community email saying to whoever you are out there,
This is becoming an increasing problem.
yeah, a little bit,
Please remind your
yeah, right.
guests to.
Because you know how well people listen when you ask them to be considerate.
Yeah.
All right, I'll just try that. And maybe in the newsletter
Yeah.
at another time, not this time, there's not enough room, but anyway, all right. But back to that, not being allowed to park in those areas, I see nothing in what I've gone through. And I've gone through it looking specifically for things about that easement. Because I was concerned that somebody would try to say that it's not there. You know, so,
How many easements do we have? Where are
17
you?
or 18. Yeah, access to the water. I don't think you would call all of them easements, but they're access points to the water. If you go down, I think I want to say it's Cove Drive, might be Leeson Cove, it goes straight to the water. Or like River Terrace, that goes straight to the water. So that's not an easement, that's our road,
What
right
about
away.
the surf where we have, you know, we have the
Surf,
Wellring Surf Road
I think,
by,
yeah, I know
Andrew's
what you
house?
mean.
What is
I
that
guess
considered?
that's.
It's a beach access, but
It
is
is a
that,
beach
is that
access,
considered
I don't think it's
easement?
an easement. If it is, it's not on private property. That one's on private property. So, on Linda Davis lot.
I mean, some of these lots used to be more lots back
Yeah,
when these
Right.
things were written.
Exactly.
There's an easement to nothing now. Except
Well, sometimes,
in
yeah,
the water,
yeah.
too.
And a lot of the access points, like there's one right at the top of Drum Point Lake, which I always thought would be great if we put picnic tables, because we have a couple lots right there. But apparently, it's a really kind of sloped access to the lake. So it would have to have some development done in it.
And it's,
Yeah.
it's association owned
Mhm.
lots.
We own lots right across the street from it. I can't seem to find it. Oh, Drum Point Lake, right at the top.
Right
Yeah,
there.
so go right to the top, you see those blue tags?
Yes.
Those are our properties.
Okay.
And there's a little line going right down
So
the
all
water,
the
and
big
that's an
ones, yeah,
easement.
they're all
Oh, I see
DPPOA
that little-
property.
Yeah, that's an easement
Yeah,
to the water.
okay.
Huh.
But I'm told it's not very accessible.
Oh, yeah, never been by there.
I've never been
Never
by there
either.
either.
I think it's like on Delaware maybe.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it correctly, or Holly, or one of
Delaware
those.
Drive.
Is it Delaware?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go over there, just
Take a look at it and
do
see.
some recon and,
Yeah.
Get some poison ivy and
Yeah, you go ahead and do that.
let us know.
Report back. So anyway, here's that. I guess I can put this here, talking with Carl Bowen, there are 2 dead oak trees. One on the corner of Station and Vista, well, they're both at the corner of Station and Vista. And he would like to take them down, and we usually just say, okay, Carl, because he's the one that knows what he's doing, but I didn't feel like I could approve it.
And they're on our
They're in our right,
right away.
they're in our right,
Yeah.
right off the edge of the road, so.
Well, it's been so reasonable
Oh, I
in
know,
every single instance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And,
I don't see why not.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll add that, this here too then, is he had also asked me, remember we approved 28,000 for his clearing of the rights of way, the major clearing, every 3 to 5 years. And it's really going to overrun our budget, which we know is going to do that. He said if we would like to, and he doesn't know about our budget, but he said if we would prefer it, he would accept 14 out of this fiscal year and 14 out of next. So we didn't budget for that, however, in this budget that we had already
ooh, we missed
pretty
that.
much approved. So remember, I gotta put like a little tickler. So there is, if you look under shore money, state highway user revenue, on the back page,
Which one,
I'm not sure.
which page we're talking about? The FY 25
The
budget?
draft budget?
on page 3, yeah, it's still a draft budget.
Okay.
On page 3, we allocated,
Let's see, what is that here? 1, 2, 4.
4, 3,
Okay.
yeah, I have it stapled down,
Okay.
so it's mine. Sorry, guys, so page 4, the last little mini section of the thing. Yeah, that's right.
The real page?
Under capital projects.
Okay.
Sorry,
The
guys.
real page 4.
The real page 4.
Okay,
Just trying to keep you on your toes.
okay.
We put 11,000, item
All right, yeah,
6830.
that's okay, yeah.
I could move that to tree removal or clearance of the right of way, or, you know, one of the line items that would actually address that. And that would take care of most of that 14,000 in next fiscal year. Do you want me to do that, or should we just stick to what we have? We know we're gonna overrun the budget, it's already been talked about.
Yeah, if we can do 14 to 14, that way we
Not-
won't
not
overrun
quite
the
so-
budget by any significant
Exactly,
percentage.
okay, so I'll move that and so on. I can put it under right-of-way maintenance, 6710, because that is exactly what it is. We have tree trimming, but that's more like, you know, specific instances, you know, like taking down this tree at Seychelles.
After a storm.
Or after a storm and so on. So, all right, I will move that to 6710. And let
Yes.
Carl know.
That's a half of least resistance.
Yeah. So, and that's all.
I wasn't here last time.
I know, yeah, you were so fast. So then,
Okay.
roads,
so,
proceed.
Roads Committee. Thanks for coming and interested in your what's up.
The roads this year? Okay. So the goal, I guess, is just to make sure, so we kind of changed some things around what we did have on the schedule for the roads to accommodate for some of the roads when people were complaining, like Deer Drive. I don't know why Deer Drive got missed, but that and Eagle and Walnut. So it didn't change too much, but let me,
That's good.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the map,
Oh, you can
the
stop
proposed
somewhere.
paving for this year. I can identify these roads, this map's not really that legible. I'm gonna probably fix that also, I figured out a way I can do that, and put the names back in. But for this purpose, over here is Eagle Drive, it comes around here and you can expect to, I think it's Bay Drive. And then we have Walnut Terrace, so there was a complaint here on Walnut Terrace about that road needing paving. I did go over and inspect it, and it's got a lot of upheaval So and then Cardinal Drive is over here, and then you have Turn Court, is right off of Cardinal Drive, and then the Laurel Way to Bayview Drive, that's where the paving stopped on Laurel Way when we did that one. Down here you have Deer Lane. For some reason, when all this was paved, it was skipped. And I did go over there. There's a lot of roots upheaving the road. It's in really, really poor condition. And then, so we're going over here to Pilot Way. Yeah, Pilot Way. And then Bowie Way. Bowie Way is really a small stub. It's not near as long as what it looks like here on the map. And there's one house on it. And then over here, so we don't do Chestnut, but we do Walsh, and we also do Leeson Drive. So there's Leeson to Walsh, and then there's Leeson to Loretta here. And so there's a special project I kind of pointed out. I don't know if we want to do it or not, just wanted to kind of propose it. But the owner of the house that's over here actually put down some millings. The road does connect to Rousby. And he put a bunch of millings down and had them spread and everything. I've got a picture of that over here. So is there any question about the actual roads we proposed for?
What is millings?
Millings are when they grind up the road,
Mm-hmm.
what they get from grinding it up. So
Oh.
sometimes they recycle them, but other times they just use them for other things like driveways and things like that.
Excuse me, Steve, are you saying that you would want to like put asphalt out to Rousby Hall Road?
Yes.
So
it's
I don't
100
know if you need to interact with State Highway to do that, because you're interfacing with their road.
Well, there's
I think
already
that-
a paved portion that goes down.
Oh, there it
into
is?
Yeah, so
Oh,
there's
okay,
actually-
so you wouldn't really be.
It's not going straight to their road and
Okay,
yeah, so there is an
Okay.
interface there already that was
Okay.
been there for a while. It's just, it was never paved all the way down. And the little red dot, by the way, represents where we are. So, these are the roads, this is what proposed for this year. This is the special project area that I'm talking about, you can see up here. It's 144 feet, it should be a 17, not a 71. It's 17 to 18 feet, it's approximately 50 tons, which is around 6750 for that. We did get an estimate from a contractor for 8750, and that's with 3 inches of asphalt. And what they would do, so it's about $2,000 more from their estimate, and I guess that would include all the prep work and stuff like that. They did say they would have to remove some of the millings there and kind of just grade it out in order to put down the new asphalt.
What was there before, just dirt?
It was actually pretty bad, yeah, because I live across the street from here.
So he's just trying to have access out to Rousby directly from his house, is that why he's doing this?
Right, well, so it is a road, it was
Oh.
there, it wasn't dirt, it was gravel.
Mm,
Yeah,
okay.
it was gravel, but it was all potty and,
Mhm.
I mean, I think on some maps it actually shows you go out there.
Did we have a road there at one time and it just degenerated?
I don't think there was ever any asphalt there, I think it's always been gravel,
Mhm.
CR6 or whatever they put down to it.
What is the width, 71 feet?
No,
Is it-
that's
Oh, no, it's
17.
17. Typo.
Yeah,
This is a typo.
Put it in there backwards,
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh, okay.
He
Yeah.
corrected it, yeah.
Okay, that makes good sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got the number from 17.5.
That's good.
Anyway, so this gives you a visual of what we're looking at as far as that goes. Here's the spreadsheet I use when we actually do the paving. So this is the estimate portion of it, which gives me, I go out and measure it, get the lengths and the widths of the road, I come up with an average width, which gives me square feet, which converts to square yards, which converts to tonnage, based on 1.5 inches. And as you can see here, I do have the special project road here is 143 feet, but I did zero out the amount. So it does not come over here and compute with this asphalt total. So this is tonnage, so asphalt tonnage. And the estimated price is based on last year's and then jacked up a little bit, just because everything else has gone up. And then what I also did was, based on all the past years, we usually run about 10% over. So I actually included a 10%, that's what the 110% is there, in the calculation. So this is not based on what that 135 price is, but based on what we could possibly go over just based on other years. And that's usually because of intersections, wedges in the road that have to be filled, a little bit of widening sometimes, things like that, dips in the road that get filled. So a lot of times you go over on the tonnage and it's not perfectly calculated the way we did here. I also included the fabric and the stone, the backing that goes on the edge of the road. And in this estimate, notice I did include the special project. It is here at, I just calculated it as 1 for $87.50. So that real number is about $250,000 instead of $258,000.
And the total footage there is 64.
Here, I can zoom in on it. What do you want to see?
6494. That's a little bit more than we have in many years, isn't it? Just a little bit more than now.
It's probably more like a 1 1/4 this year for that. 5,280 square feet would be a mile, so I can calculate and give you an
No,
exact.
just wondering, because I know we've been slightly over 5280, in most years.
Yeah, and this is probably, I'll show you a rundown of all the other projected years for the next 2 years, because the next 2 years are still in the STD timeframe. So this spreadsheet, when I use that, as we go through it, we put in the numbers, here are the actuals, this should zero out over here, so total over, total under. So any question on this?
That's great information.
It is.
I mean, it's good stuff.
We budgeted 250,000, so that's pretty close. And we always go over, and we bill it to the STD. As long as we're spending it on roads, there's never a complaint.
These are higher numbers, like Ray said, we do go over. I added more cost to this. I don't know if that's what it's gonna turn out to be. For the stone, it was, I think, 175 last year. But that was with, a different company. We don't know who we're gonna get this year, so, maybe more. So I just wanted to make sure we were not too far under, not too far over. So is that good? There's a little more information. This is the 2025 proposed paving. So this was a section over in the Leeson Cove area that wasn't paved when we did the rest of it. And it was just because it was a lot of road, and I think we did like 1 1/4 miles that year also. So this was proposed for 2025. There is one sort of offshoot over here, it's Vera Lane, which didn't get paved with the section that was paved last year. I can zoom on if you want to see the names of the. So this is what we did last year.
That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, 2 years
that was
ago. I'm
with,
sorry. Yeah.
He Who Shall Not Be Named.
Yeah, Mill Creek Drive and Anchor and all that, Calvert, that was all 2 years ago. But that one road up here didn't.
That one.
So, and we're just trying to keep them all in the same area here as we go through. Now, I did do a spreadsheet for this one, same thing, all the numbers, 110% on that, so 10% jack up on the price. This one I didn't have any special projects included on, you know, and then it shows the total here. And that's based on prices that I did put in for this year as well, for each item.
When you said it was 10% above, is it 10% above 2024 or 20? This is 10% above 23?
Oh, no, we're not going,
Is
yeah.
25, is 25 10% above 24?
We're not gonna go 10 more, no, it's just a 10% overrun on, whatever we do. So this is based on all the same costs for the materials as this year.
Oh,
So I haven't changed that because we don't know what they are yet.
So I have a question, so for 2025, when it comes, will this adjust, will you do another?
I will adjust it as I go, yeah, as I put the numbers in, everything will change, especially when we do, so this is just an estimated price. And when we actually get in, we get the RFP back, the proposal back from the contractor, we choose one, we'll have an actual price, and I'll just change that to actual. Or maybe put in another column for actuals. Well, actually, I do have it over here. Here's our actuals over here. And they'll all calculate and zero out that red number.
And how do you determine which roads get paved? Is it like a schedule?
We have a schedule, I don't have it with me right now, but we do have a schedule of the past years that we have paved. And so the roads that we're choosing now, some of the offshoots that were in the areas where we already paved, we want to try to keep them all together. And then there are, you know, just sections that we have not paved yet on this, you know, since I think, I don't know when it started, 2012.
Jeff, our previous project manager, put together a 5-year schedule for the special tax district presentation. So, but we're in the second year of that, but it's been tweaked, as Steve said, because things come up and things change,
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. So I think, yeah.
So we have
a
a map that does have all, it's all color coded, it's really pretty. I was gonna make a copy of it and put it in here, but I didn't. And it does show, it shows all the special tax district years that we have. Plus it shows prior years where we just did overlays on that. So we know we did all those roads, and we know what year we did those roads. And Jeff was able to pull it together and, you know, keep that on record. And so as we move, we're kind of using the same format he was using to figure all that out.
That's a pretty recent.
It's not real.
I'll bring the map next time. Or I'll redo, I want to do it digitally like I did this one, but with better maps. This is why I did all these, the other ones digitally.
It's
But
what it looks like, that's an old one. That's what he put together,
Yeah, that's the old.
I think starting with 23, and then, because that's when we were doing the special tax district.
No, I only have 5 on mine.
There are only 5, this is an old one.
Oh.
So when he put it together, he started with 23, I think, and went for 5 years.
And you'll see up here for 2026, the proposed roads on this are, can't see one of them. It's,
Grover Lane.
Yeah.
zoom in on it.
I think it's
Anyways, you can see how
bigger.
they're more closely together, so it's easier for the paving company to not have to move the equipment down the road and make messes, things like that. And then they can have a staging area, you know, that they don't have to move around too much. So it's the
will
same,
result in lower bids if we.
yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
right, and I'm sure that's something to take into account as well. And I did the same thing, there's a spreadsheet here for this one. I actually have a full workbook with all this in and summaries and stuff like that, that's active. And again, we used the same numbers here and we still did 10% based on those numbers. So we're guessing this year will be, it'll probably be less. So, and here's the special tax district years with the roads, and I show the basically just the cost for each year we had there, and it shows the width, which roads they were. You can see in here, I did sort that one out, I did add it in there until that's okay. And you can see here's last year, what we did. This one has projected an actual on there. The reason why our actual was higher this year was because of Beach Road, or the beach access road, I should say. And then this was the prior year, before I came. All right, so some of the projects we've done with stormwater management. This is the Huron Drive and Grover Lane project. This is what Grover Landscaping did. It's kind of hard, the pictures don't really do anything. But what was happening here, this first picture you can see here, the water was coming through this culvert. Here's the front side of the culvert, and this comes off our Huron. It's up here. I should probably just put this on a map. So all the water that runs down and sheets off the road, goes on this side of this homeowner's driveway, comes out this end right here, and it was going all out here in the yard. And they had some big giant ruts in their yard from it. And while we were paving last year, she did come out and, and talk to me about it, and she actually came up to the office and wanted something done about it. So that was one of the projects we put in. Here's the other side. It's just another picture. Sorry, they're not that great. Here is a before image of the Buckler Drive. And if we zoom in on that, you can actually see there's actually cracking starting to happen on the road here, because the water runs down here, sheets off of Ottawa, comes down through here, and it's just washing everything away and washes across this person's driveway. In the process, this is what it looks like now. So they started up here, and what this does is just slows down the water so that it doesn't do damage. What was happening was all going across the yard and getting down. Their house is pretty low, but what they discovered was there was a culvert under their driveway. So this is the culvert. You can just barely make it out here. So they dug the culvert out and flushed it. So now the water will trickle through here and go out here. There's a natural drain that comes this way. So it'll go down through there and it drains into a natural drainage area. So,
Well, that's a good solution, it looks like.
Mhm.
Very good.
this is the 521 Beach Drive. I'm going to zoom in on this one too so you can see these. So this is the sort of before what was going on. You can see all the stones out here from what was being washed out on the side of the road here. This is all our backing that we put on Beach Drive this year. And it was washing out in the road, and this homeowner was coming out and sweeping it out of the road every time it rained and calling Rhea every time.
And texting me.
Everyone
8
else.
o'clock at night out there. Come on, man.
So here's what it looks like now, same angle going down. It stopped here at this tree because we thought that it would dissipate it enough, slow it down enough that it would then go, and I'll show you another picture, down into one of the drains that we've had installed. So this next picture I'm showing you is actually over here on the other side of Cree, and there's a pipe that goes across the road down here into a natural draining area. And this is it right here. This was all growing over, it was all falling in right here on the edge, and so we were losing all the backing we tried to put on it, and it was just going to get worse as the water washed across the street over that. So we thought we had this solution done, which we did. Fixed what we wanted to fix. The gravel was going across the street, that's fixed. This drainage area over here is fixed, so the water's going through the culvert on that driveway to the right. It's going in there and it's crossing the street, and it's not flooding or causing problems. The road's not going to fall apart here any longer. But what we sort of created was now the water concentrates and comes down the side of this homeowner's yard. And you can see this is the drain that Jeff had put in. I don't know when it was, years ago, but across the street is the big drain area you saw. And what we thought was if we put some large stones here, that they were coming straight across, we'd slow it down and then it'd drain it naturally. But apparently now it's coming down their driveway, it's, you know, instead of, I have a theory on it, but probably shouldn't get into all that. Instead of the water sheeting down the road so hard now and stopping the water coming out of their driveway, it's just coming straight out the driveway now down into this area, washing away. So I did get some estimates to have this, this fixed.
That's the texter. That's the guy that's called.
Yeah,
He's,
yeah.
he's,
And so here's 552, again, this is just our backing, the stones, the CR6 is washing the road. I don't have a complete, I thought I had one, but I did not have one, so I'm sorry about that. But they did the same thing that you saw on 521, it's just they dug out 2 feet and they dug down, they put a liner in, put the large stones on top of that, and then straw and seed on the edges there where they messed up the grass.
so are they, they'll revisit 521 and 552?
Well, we have another solution. So this, I can go down to that if you want something else. No, I don't have it. Oops. Oh, no, I didn't, sorry. Okay, so these are the estimates that we still need to get. These are, for one, I think we got some from Grover, but I think we should get some different estimates and be more clear on the scope of work that we want done.
But this would be for next fiscal year, these projects, right?
Well, whatever.
I think the budget
Their
probably
budget.
says it will be for next.
Yeah, so this is, so, yeah, so these are people that are kind of complaining now, about stuff. Are you talking about these or the ones we already have estimates for? 'Cause we already have estimates.
Oh, I
for
was
these.
talking about.
I was gonna get new estimates.
Okay,
Yeah.
I know you have some estimates, which everybody has.
Yeah. So when they engineered like those ones that were 90% right, like 552 or 521, what happens after that? Is it we scope and therefore they fix and now it's not as we completely hoped, therefore we have to budget for it in the future? Or is it?
So the only one that didn't really work out was the beach, because now it's going into Cree. So on Cree, in that corner, there used to be a curb there. But when we paved this year, that curb got covered up. So if you look on here, so for that, it's not on here. These were just other projects that we had. I can zoom in on this. But this was Elkins Lane, there's a washout area there. It's not as bad as what we were seeing on the beach. And the Bayview at Bay Drive, this is a corner where there's a deep swell in the corner. If you make a left turn off of this Bayview on a Bay Drive, apparently the bus keeps running over the pipe. So because it's a short turn and it goes, yeah. So that needs a little bit of work, kind of like what they did on 521 Beach to help keep the roof from caving in that hole.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, is it an engineering issue and therefore the person, the company that repaired it, therefore is no longer has to deal with it, like 521 or 552, or is it something we have to go back?
Oh, so
We've already
for the work
paid
that
for
they-
it and we have to go back and. budget
Yeah,
for
so
it
they
in the
did
future.
what we asked in the scope. So
They
then nothing
did the
is like
scope.
say, we need to provide a clear scope.
Oh,
If we're gonna
okay.
have them do this, we can't assume that they're going to, you know, do it to whatever our expectations are.
So, exactly, okay, that is.
Mine are probably a little higher than theirs, so.
Okay, yeah, exactly, the subjectivity is in that last 10 feet, though.
Right,
The big rocks versus the little rocks.
right,
And that's fine, because I mean, it's solved 90% of
right,
it.
because little rocks are easier than big rocks.
Yeah, they're cheaper.
So,
So therefore, if we were to address it, then we'd have to pay for
right.
it.
So we looked for solutions for that. And so Bayview Drive, we did get an estimate for that, but I'm afraid even with this number right here, they're just not gonna do what the expectation is. You know, and same with here on Harbor Drive, the standing water, and I've got some pictures of that. And I've got some pictures of the Surf Street standing water here, so these could be future projects, here, that we can work on. So here's Surf Street, this is what happens, and it's a heavy rain. But it really doesn't, all this water comes down from beach and, you know, and it comes across the road and it fills in these areas, you know, over here, but, you know, it's something that could be fixed, and maybe should be.
The ducks like it.
And mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Good point.
But this poor guy's driveway over here, he's got no access to it, up 10 feet of water, not deep, but, you know, wide, you know, for him to get out to his mailbox here. So, anyways, that's surf, and this is kind of like what we would draw up for. This is sort of a similar, it's in a different area on surf. This is actually on the other side of surf that was washed away, where Lake Drive is. I think we were talking about that. Airbnb. But it would be a similar type of fix here to get it out to the bay, to drain that area. Because if we kept it from coming off of the beach, you would keep it from going across the street here as well, at least 90% of it. But we would come up with a little better plan than that. These are recent requests for work being done. So Mill Creek Drive, there's kind of a lake there. I have a picture of it. Yeah, this is it. So when it rains, this is his yard on the corner here. He gets this big lake and it goes pretty far back. So and it sits there for a little while. And I can zoom in if you want to look here. There is a drain. If you see it right here, there's a drain right there that runs back into the woods and goes into a natural swell where it dissipates. There's also a drain pipe on the other side of this road that was capped. And I don't know why it was capped, but it goes down about 2 or 3 feet. And then, I don't know if I have a picture of that. No, I don't, because it's covered in water. But so the request was to just sort of dig a ditch there, put, you know, the large rocks around it, line it, and then have that pipe. It's a 4-inch or 5-inch pipe that goes to that, to this drain area over here. So it just goes right across the street. But I don't know why it was capped off. It's just sitting there capped off. So then there's Cardinal Drive. There's a gentleman that has a culvert that's completely covered up, and he wants it flushed out because he gets standing water in the front of his house, and people try to park there in the swell, and it's made big ruts in his yard. So they wanted almost $1,000 just to dig it up and look at it. So that is not to fix it. So Grover did say that they could do Mill Creek, the one we just talked about, for $1,800, about $2,000. And we did talk specifically about what to do here. So then on 521 Beach Drive, this is where the water's washing across the road. The pictures I showed you for the gentleman in the creek who keeps calling. But Grover wants $4,500 to put stone. And I don't know where he got this from, because it's the same distance he did from the driveway to the tree. Now we want to go from the tree to the corner, and he wants like 3 times the amount of money.
How much do you want?
If he doesn't want the job.
Yeah, doesn't want to do it. So
The guy came out and gave him a bunch of crap. He said it's gonna cost you $2,000 more.
so I said they would put, and I told him 80 feet, a curb there for $1,000.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That would be a lot
So
better.
that would just divert the water around, right? So, and then he'd take it around the corner. So I don't know if that's, and then on Mohawk Drive here, this person, they have called quite a few times. This was an original estimate that we got. to have his culvert flushed. And Grover does have a pretty cool flushing system for culverts. It works out pretty well for them, because it doesn't take much time, but they get a decent amount of money. So all that added up to 8,000. But I think this is kind of irrelevant because I think this price is way too high. And I think the Mill Creek might be reasonable to do. And like I said, I think I gave him more of a specific scope on that one, so he may want to do that. So I guess the question is deciding, we can probably put this in another document and decide whether or not you want to do it this year or wait till next year.
Well, I was going to say, if you think the one, it was 1895, whatever that is,
That
Mill Creek.
one's this
Yeah.
area here on Mill Creek.
if you think that's a reasonable amount, maybe you could approve like one of these this evening. I will say, looking at the budget, what's left in stormwater management money, is 6639. So there is a little bit in that budget for a little more this year.
So maybe the squeaky wheels,
Well,
culvert.
or the ones you, and the ones you have a decent price on versus, the one that's 3 times what you would have expected.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because, these are really low,
Right.
but the other ones are super high. I mean, he's coming in higher than G Woods.
Well, he gets his material from John Wood, he was telling me. Because he backed off the rock thing because he can't work with rock that large. Mike Taro can't, or roads landscape.
Yeah,
But he said, I get my supply from John. He said, I'm guessing you probably got a price from John too, didn't you? I said, yeah. Yes, we did. So, I don't know. But that's the money kind of left in this year's budget for anything like that.
Gives us room to do stuff.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it's super.
and if you need any of the documents, I can get them, if you want to see them up close.
And some of these, it seems like, culverts, clogged, this is maintenance stuff that we should just
Should be
constantly
doing,
take care of,
Yeah.
I would think.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems, I don't even know how many maintenance issues there are out there. Could be quite a few.
I mean, if you really wanted to go out and nitpick and then pick them out, there are. I mean, like the culvert on Buckler that they discovered, just because it had been, all the erosion over top of that. Nobody knew it was there.
What about the one like on Bay and Bayview, because you were saying something about the school bus having a, like
Do we
Yeah,
have a
Just
price on
can't cut
that
the
yet?
corner yet.
Oh, what?
Is there a price on that one?
He did give us a price, but, kind of
But if it's the
leery
winter
about that
road, that's
price.
the problem.
That's
Well,
this
there
one,
is
yeah, for $714, I don't think that's gonna get fixed the way it should be.
And what could they do there? Just have a heavier duty pipe, so when the bus goes across it?
Well, part of it was, so I can read that here. It says supply labor, equipment, material to install 2-inch bluestone to aid in prevention of the bus interacting with the present hole at the intersection of Bayview Drive and Bay Drive, then apply 1 ton of cold patch. So what they're gonna do is kind of fill the road back out to give it more, a less sharp apex on the turn.
Yeah.
So the bus could actually drive over that?
Right, so the cold patch, now the bus can go over.
We can
So
just
you got the
eventually
bluestone down
break it
there,
back
the cold
down.
patch, and you're protecting the.
It wouldn't just break back down over the course of a year?
Well, that's what all the stone is for, they fill that in, and then the hole would still be there for the culvert, so it can still drain. But then you bring the cold, a ton is probably gonna get you about 2 feet, so.
So, will the water still make it through if you put in the stone in?
Well, the culvert's far enough out where you can put that on there. I don't know how they've run over the pipe, to be honest, because it's pretty far inside the curve there, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's not like it's right on the edge and they're hitting it, and the bus is bouncing on it, but, you know,
Most of the time, it's just close, you know.
Yeah.
It's, you can see it's tough for the bus driver
Yeah.
to get out. And there's always about 6 or 8 parents standing there to the people, so if you're watching this. Yeah.
yeah. So, so it's chipping away the road too.
Well, it's just maintenance, anything you have to do.
Steve, do you want to say which ones of those that we have estimates for you think are reasonable and are, you know, urgent enough to do?
Yeah, I mean, considering the discussion we just had, I mean, Dayview is, you know, definitely one that we should address, but because we don't have a price for it and it's probably gonna be a little higher.
That's not the 714, that's there?
Yeah, I mean, that's,
We just don't think it's reasonable.
I mean, we can go with that, I mean, but we can hold him to it.
Well,
I could ask him to give me,
well, not if you don't think it's the best solution.
yeah, well, I'm scared of the price, actually. It's a little too low.
Oh,
I'm
So
not
you,
sure what he's
could
gonna,
you
you know, I
write
mean,
into the specs, we edit the specs,
Right.
because is that a problem like you were talking about before, where maybe we didn't define things?
right,
Oh,
so
yeah.
making sure we're putting in a really good
Right,
scope,
right,
right, to our standard.
Like a real solution.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the,
There was
yeah,
no interpretation,
To us,
right?
it's not
question.
scoping.
Yeah.
that us is not scoping or they're not executing.
Right, I mean, and I think we were looking for, okay, well, who's gonna be cheaper to go in and do
Yeah,
this, and
sometimes.
solve the problem?
remember John Wood was like 3 times.
Yeah, and John Wood he was a lot more
She
expensive.
wasn't.
You know, and they were very close in what they said they were gonna do. But we went back to Grover, and Grover's a landscaping company.
Well, it's also underground utilities, it's not just
Yeah,
landscape.
yeah,
It is.
But I had to go, even when we were doing 521, I went over there to inspect it, and they were just putting the rocks on top of the grass, you know, and it's, you know, so they're now, you know, 8 inches above the road, and, you know, and I called, you know, Mike, and
My
I said, Mike, you guys are, you know, that's why we gave you another opportunity to give us another estimate, was because we wanted it done this way, you know,
Mhm.
they were supposed to dig it out and put the fabric down,
Right.
and then put the rocks in so that they set below the grade of the road, you know, so that people wouldn't run into them. So, but they were just setting on top, and I'm like, okay, guys, stop.
So are there any there that you think they can approve tonight?
I think, so Elkins, I wouldn't say so. Surf Street, that's sort of a long-term, like, planning project. I think, probably back over here where we were on this one, I don't think we should go dig this, homeowner's culvert up for $1,000. If we're gonna do it, we should just do it. And then, so on Beach and Cree, I think we should definitely do this. Like I said, Chihai said $1,000, so that would be 1,000 instead of 4,500. I think the curb would solve the problem here. Mohawk Drive, this person has called multiple times over the course of the year, so we should probably do that. And then Mill Creek, because there's already a pipe there and it's capped off, that would be a pretty easy fix. And I think that Berber with this price would do what's expected here. That's not and he knows that because now he knows what the expectation is because we went back to him with the other estimates. But again, and then anything over here, you know, it'd be nice if we could trust that. I mean, we could give it a shot, and if he doesn't do it, you know, or just have him, you know, make sure that he understands what the scope is on that. I could change the scope and get the price from him. But this one, I think too much blue snow will be fine. It's not on a Large Hill, and all we're trying to do with this one
That's on Harbor.
is slow the water down. This is on the corner of Bayview
Oh, Baden.
and Bay Drive.
So you're saying Elkins at 912, Bayview and Bay at 714, and 521 Beach for 1,000?
I wouldn't worry about Elkins right now.
Oh,
It's been several years now, it's not washing out anymore. It did, and that's why Joe reported it.
oh, okay.
Yeah. But there is a problem down there that another homeowner called about,
Right.
but I don't think there's anything we can do about that. I mean, it's a natural drain down to these two,
Oh,
between two
I know what you're talking
houses.
about.
Yeah. And
Okay.
the tree roots are showing because it's
Yeah.
eroding, you know, but it's in their property.
I know.
It goes all the way to the water.
Yeah.
I mean, we could fix it, but.
Have you talked to the property owner that,
He's renting the house, so I talked to the renter. For some reason, he
is
wasn't.
that Alpine?
No, not Alheim.
No, okay.
Alheim is the, sorry.
That's all right, I just.
Yeah, he's the one on Mill Creek.
Oh, okay. So then again, which ones are you saying we should do, or suggesting that they should?
Bayview,
Mhm.
I'll get another price from Grover.
Okay.
See what he says. And then, oops. Alheim was Mill Creek.
Is that 18? I can't see.
1895.
18.
And then, this one at Beach and Cree for the curb, for the $1,000 in sheet iron.
Okay.
And then Mohawk, that culvert being
And what
flushed.
is the cost on that?
That one's $750.
750. Well, that all seems to be within the budget of what we have left for this year.
So we could do that before the end of June.
Yeah, I mean, if they can get it on their schedules, but yeah.
But financially,
Yeah.
before the end of June.
And then, just another thing from the paving last year, there was some cracking at the end of the driveway. The same guy on Cree where 521 Beach is, he called, asked about that. And so we have Shihai, they're gonna go out here and mill that down and patch it. They have a job in St. Leonard that they're gonna do, that he wants to do at the same time, because they wanna use hot asphalt instead of cold patching it. So they're waiting until they get that job. They were supposed to do it last week, and it got pushed back by their customer. Then they're supposed to do it this week, but the rains stopped
Okay.
this week.
So that's under the warrant.
Yeah.
We won't
Yeah,
charge
that's,
for that.
yeah, it's getting done. Those contact with them about that.
Well, do we need a motion to do,
Yes.
can you just tell us again, what are there's four
we need-
properties?
Yes.
Four addresses?
521 Beach Drive, intersection of Bayview and Bay. I didn't write down Mill Creek. Hold on. 12695 Mill Creek Drive for $1895 and $750 on Mohawk. Again, I didn't get that name. So the total for that is $4359.
It's,
And there is money in the
that's
budget for
within
that.
our balance.
Yes. So you want to
So, anybody want to make a motion to approve these four projects?
I make a motion to approve these 4 projects.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, so we carry it. Good.
I didn't mean for it to go that long.
That was good
Sometimes
stuff.
it's good for us to
Yeah.
understand, you know? So it's good.
There's a lot of those water problems out there.
Yeah, there'll probably be
Yeah.
more and more, I think.
And there is, I've noticed a few, Harbor Lane has a pretty big problem over there too.
That's a of bread and butter and what we're supposed to
I
be.
know,
Right.
that's what we do, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Thanks so much. I can follow it all.
I'm always amazed at how the power of water,
Oh, yeah.
well, what it does, even in this kind of more gentle setting.
It's like a feast right now, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's why we were concerned about the 2-inch down,
Mhm.
you know, the water just pushing that across
Yeah.
the street. It was a pretty steep grade,
Mhm.
you know, we wanted to.
Yeah.
All right, so going to the next item. It's a long meeting, but we just gotta power through it.
Okay.
Especially this next one. There's really not much to report on the budget. It looks all okay. There's nothing that looks outstanding there. We do have to approve the budget that the Finance Committee developed and submitted. And I guess it was up last month, but I missed it, so it just didn't get approved. The only one additional item before we can approve the budget is compensation for our manager. So we generally are going to executive session at the end of this meeting. And then after the fact, approve the budget, it gets minuted,
Yeah.
so it becomes official. So I propose that we do that when, as we adjourn here. We're all agreed? Okay. Then we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Bonnie, you want to talk about the environmental?
Yeah, I have nothing really, except, I owe you a small blurb on the latest invasive plant that I sent you an email.
Well, I'll probably have to hold it off.
Oh, okay,
Next
that's
newsletter.
fine. Yep, no problem.
But I just, you know, if you get a chance, do it, I'll
Well,
keep it.
The next one, yeah.
I just didn't know what your deadline was.
Probably not gonna go away.
No.
But what is the plan this time?
I forget what it was called, but it said
Yeah, it's in there.
Yes,
Yeah.
I forget the name of it. But it was another one of these bad ones that,
Invasive.
that looks nice and
Yeah.
terrible.
Okay,
But I have nothing,
then we'll move to the safety committee, John.
Yeah, I don't have any updates.
Okay, good. Want to talk about the welcoming committee, really?
Yeah, I've distributed actually 3 buckets now, and there's one left in the back, and the committee's gonna come Friday and put together, I think you brought
About 4 o'clock.
4 bottles. So we have enough of everything for you guys to assemble 4 bottles, or 4 buckets.
Okay. We're getting pretty low on buckets, are we?
There's still maybe a dozen back there. I'll have to double check. It's kind of hard, you have to count the handles. Don't make the mistake.
They're all
buckets.
smushed together.
Well, and the buckets have like a double rim.
Yeah.
And I counted them one year and I came up with twice what we actually had. So, but I think we're okay for a little while.
Okay, good. Seems like there's more properties changing hands here.
A little,
Incomes.
pick it up a little more, but it
Raise up in
hasn't
the
raised
spring.
2 months before that. I don't think prices are dropping.
Yeah.
Are they?
No.
Yeah, a friend, Julia's friend from college is buying a house on Huron.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, Julia just told me last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Okay. Planning committee is, that would be Mike, but he's not
He's
here.
not here.
The only thing was he stopped me we were at a funeral,
Yeah.
and he said, oh, they've gotta be 44 inches, these stones. I
Oh,
think
he's
that's-
so worried about the
It is,
distance.
you spend a lot of time repeating 44 inches.
I know, so that goes on to the next thing on the agenda, the unfinished business, the
Oh,
rocks
okay,
on the
good.
beach.
All right, nice
And-
segue.
Yeah, and we got an initial proposal from Grover's Landscape, because they do this. And then it was decided, and we got one from John Wood. So Grover's was $6,775 and John Wood's was $5,900. But the rocks are rather small. They're like the ones we had put on the Riverview Causeway. So I think you all know that, but for the sake of the meeting. So then we asked for a price on larger boulders, big things. And
44 inches, right?
Which one is 44 inches apart?
Apart.
Oh, okay, I was
the
thinking,
big
wow.
alligator.
Mike was concerned, I think Mike was concerned for them to be, like if it, I don't even know how to say it, like on center, like the center of this rock to the center of
yeah.
that rock, 44 inches.
Okay.
No, we want them 44
44
inches
inches, right.
apart,
Okay.
so
The
that.
average golf cart is
The
48
average
inches
golf
cart,
wide.
exactly.
That is the mindset behind it.
Exactly
Okay.
right. The issue, though, if you will, is that our mower has to be able, and it's, I don't remember now, like 52 inches.
52
So
inches.
how do you do
So
that?
it well, Joe Bateman suggested, and I think it makes sense, to leave a wider space between the last rock and the lake.
Well, won't they
Because
all just
it-
go in there though?
well,
I mean,
they will be
we'll
less-
all find the.
Less likely, because it's marshy there.
Ah.
But
So-
the mower can go there.
Mower,
It's pretty
Because-
spongy. It
yeah,
really is.
and when he takes the mower onto the beach, he actually changes the tires out. Recall a couple of years ago, we got bigger tires that will not sink into the sand.
Okay.
So, I mean, we have to allow access, you
Yeah,
know, and
yeah.
so what are you gonna do? Trucks won't be able to get in and
Yeah.
do some four-wheeling, and I think that's the main
Yeah.
issue, is that people bring their trucks onto the beach.
And cars, it's too.
And, well, yeah,
Cars
exactly,
would be,
yeah, so I think it solves the main issue. So when we decided we needed larger rocks, I think I mentioned earlier, Mike Taro from Grover's Landscape said, I don't even have equipment that can handle that size rock. And I get my rock from John Wood, gee, didn't you get a price from him?
Yeah.
Yes. So John's price for that increased from his 5,900, it increased to 6,900 for those large ones. And what he will do when he's ready, when it's approved, which I assume after all this, it will be, he'll meet Mike down there. Mike actually stopped at his place in St. Leonard to scope out the rocks. But Mike will, when he's ready, you know, Mike will meet him down there. If Mike's not in town, I'll go. I think I understand what he's trying to say. But yeah, Mike was very concerned that we weren't gonna get that.
And were those rocks equal boulders that were the 700
They're like 700
to 2,000 pounds?
They're on the low end of that 7 to 2,000.
Mhm.
They're like 700 to 800 pounds.
So we're
Which,
talking-
yeah, yeah.
They're
They're too big for some,
Mhm.
Somebody to drive up with
well, or to, you know,
it. Or people
I hate
pick
to-
up and
or you know, a
steal.
couple of drunk guys down there
Yeah,
pushing
yeah.
rocks around. I didn't want to disparage anybody. But I think that's what happens. sometimes.
Yeah.
Kids get down
They
there and
definitely
play
get-
around and,
The posts that they put like on,
Yeah.
on the Bayview and Laurel and those, they
Yeah.
do take the post out and they
They
throw
do.
them in the
they
lake.
do, yeah. But we are going to leave, I guess, the posts that are on the beach at the end of the entrance driveway.
Mhm.
Because then that hopefully, I mean, there'd be nothing to keep somebody from ripping those out, getting angry and driving right over across our grasses.
I mean,
Somebody
right
did-
now before we get the rocks in.
Well, when they see they can't.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
Mike and I
people
were
do things.
down there speaking to
So we can't.
the rock guy.
John Wood.
John Wood. We were talking about the boulders, rocks, whatever, being at the end of the driveway.
Oh, really?
We were talking about that, being at the end of the driveway, starting there,
Mm-hmm.
kind of following the same as the wood fence that is there
Okay,
now,
right.
following the same perimeter.
But not, so at the end of the driveway also?
That was, we did
Oh, I
say that
realized
we'd
that.
have rocks
Okay.
/ boulders at the end of the driveway.
Alright, alright.
And it would really follow the same as the wood does now.
Mhm.
It's exactly the same,
Right.
except the opening that is there now with access to the beach would move
Mhm.
to the right side if you're looking at the
Mhm.
outhouse now.
Okay. And that price, speaking of that outhouse surround, porta potty surround, the 6,900 includes removing that and hauling it away. So, that's not bad.
Have you seen has there been any activity on the cameras at all down there recently? I know come May, usually there's more activity.
What weather gets going.
What I've
Yeah.
seen, which I find interesting, is there's a fair amount of people that come from Drum Point Slope over, good, better, and different. And it just, you see
Thanks, Steve.
that was great.
Right, thank you.
And other than that, nothing, a lot of animals.
Yeah.
It's kind of, but people coming, getting rid of the outhouse thing some people use that as an
Oh.
outhouse.
Okay.
So, which,
Oh, lovely.
yeah, you get an alert, you're like, ah.
Yeah, no.
It really is
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of ugly, but anyway. No, it's,
Yeah,
I
okay.
did, after the fence got cut down or down, which I would have sworn with deer, but it had to be people, because I
Right.
found it in the woods.
Oh.
Brought it back up here a couple days ago. I moved one of them up, but we'll see. I think in the end, maybe next month, I'll do another demo. I think we're probably one camera short,
Oh.
but it's just too far to see everything.
Yeah.
But the good news is you see the cars coming in,
Yeah.
and you can somewhat recognize them. You'd be able to tell whose car it was if they did
They
something.
did something,
Right.
yeah.
And you see people coming from Drum Point Club,
Mhm.
so you'd be able to see if, if there was some kids that did something, you would have seen them coming from that.
Well,
Right.
I just wanted to just add on to that, well, before the cameras went up, there were kids building fires on the Drum Point side, but
Yeah.
they'd park on the community beach, and then they trespass onto the wooded area of
Right.
Drum Point and build fires, and, one time Salakaza was walking through, and they caught them, they were building fire, it was like when it was really windy and everything, it was
Right in the middle of the wood.
yeah, in the woods. And he did call he asked them to leave, he called the sheriff's office, because the kids were belligerent. And one of them was under 18, the other two were older. And the sheriff did come, and then they called Eric, because he's the president, and asked if we wanted to press charges, and we said for trespassing, because we don't know what all the rules are for like fires and stuff, but we wanted to send a message to these kids, not to come over and build these fires, it's really dangerous, especially
That's
when it's windy
terrible.
and
There have been some major fires.
so then we didn't hear anything back, so Eric called to find out, update, like what, nothing. And then Sal called yesterday, so he's subpoenaed, so they are, they're going to court, these kids,
Oh.
or I guess they're young adults. And it's a misdemeanor for trespassing, but, he wanted to let you know, so, like, people know that, if they trespass or they do
Things
crazy
will
things,
happen.
that,
Yeah.
you can
They'll
be
be
arrested,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good.
So, I don't know what's gonna happen, but at least I just want to give that
Are
update.
they-
It is a good message, though.
Are these residents, do you think they belong to the community? We don't know.
I know one of them does, because the one that was underage, the sheriff didn't press charges, but he went and talked to the
Yeah, what I was
parents.
gonna say,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the parents know, and, he's like, I'm not gonna do it. And plus, they were worried, because they were underage drinking too, like, they were throwing White Claw cans and everything, and the sheriff wanted the parents to know, okay, the
Yeah,
kid's
yeah.
doing this,
They're
it's not.
setting forest fires.
Not, you shouldn't be hanging out with these,
Yeah.
older kids doing
Yeah,
this stuff,
yeah.
kind of thing, yeah.
One question we got, do we have to have a motion on the rocks? Is that?
Yes, because
is
it's
that-
$6,069, need a motion to approve that,
Okay.
the
And is that-
installation of the rocks.
I motion to approve the rocks.
And I'll second it.
Okay.
Boulders, the
Yes, the
boulders,
boulders,
you used
yes.
the word
Well,
boulders.
rocks sounds so
They're kind of-
little, and
Yeah.
boulder
Yeah.
sounds
These are good size.
big.
Yeah.
I barely knew what riprap was, and then I'm like,
Well,
I started looking
I
it
know,
up
right?
online,
And I
I'm
didn't,
like, I can move that.
I would have had a different idea of what riprap was.
I
I
didn't,
thought they were like,
I
if you,
So
Jump up a-
that's our business for
Yes,
tonight.
I
Schedule
wrote
next
those kind of blocky
meeting.
things, I didn't realize. they
Schedule
were
the next
stone.
meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Round things.
Let's talk about the next meeting.
Okay. The 4th or the 11th are the first two Tuesdays in June.
How about the 4th?
Fourth works for me.
Because we have a community meeting later that
When
month.
is that?
Well, that's not until the
The
25th,
25th?
Tuesday. Yeah.
25th, yeah.
So,
So to me, that argues for the 4th.
yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense, so there's some space in between.
does that work for everybody?
Okay, so we'll do that. And then we need a motion to adjourn and go to executive session.
I motion to adjourn.
Anybody second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. So, it's carries.